Okay,
Underneath from the ISG was also was not okay. So he corrected that, and that's now 2.5 weeks ago, and it's much, much, much better.
good.
But it's not okay yet.
Okay, well, I'm glad it's better. Sorry, it's not okay yet. But hopefully, what you'll learn here is um, just a couple little techniques that you could possibly start using. But the big goal is just to try to let people know that they need to assess themselves often to see how their body's out of balance. Welcome aboard, Kelly. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay. Different last name on Facebook, starting with a C.
Yeah, that's my middle name.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, we're international now because Sabine is in Germany, but just gonna wait a couple more minutes because we had about 10 people who said that they were gonna try to join us. So I'm not I'm gonna be very informal. I actually woke up feeling like my head was gonna explode. I don't know what's going on weather-wise around here, but um the agenda basically for this is just going to talk about how the body's imbalances are what keeps most people from obtaining full relief. Or if they do get relief, it's the imbalances in their body that keep the symptoms coming back. I don't know. Kelly, how long have you been dealing with this?
Since July 3rd.
Okay. Now, is this your first bout with sciatica?
I didn't have sciatica initially.
Okay.
What happened is I bent over and picked up a small rock, a little landscaping rock, and I felt a twinge in my back.
Okay.
Um, and then it was okay for about 3 days. I laid off of I am a heavy runner. I was a
Okay.
heavy runner. I laid off of running and then I ran. After about 3 days, I ran 6 miles one day, and then the next day I ran 7 miles, and that was it for me. And I had severe back pain.
Okay.
Went to the doctor. They gave me steroids, this, that, and the other. It got better initially, about a week and a half, 2 weeks later. And then I was sitting at my computer desk working, and I bent over funny. And then it was really bad pain, laid up in
Okay.
bed pain. And then they did an MRI. They found a bulging disc at my L5. They found an annular tear at my L4. They gave me a steroid injection. It did not get better. Um, then I went to physical therapy, like my sixth or seventh week into physical therapy. And he did manual therapy on my piriformis, where he was digging his elbow into my piriformis on
I'm
both
sorry.
sides. And after that, I couldn't walk. And that's when my sciatica started. And I ended up in the ER. I couldn't feel my legs. I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything. So then they gave me injections in my piriformis muscles. That did not work. And then they gave me injections in my SI joints on October 31st. That was the ticket. But now I'm still really struggling with muscle pain, especially deep, deep gluteal muscle pain
Okay.
and
Gotcha.
sacral pain.
Sad thing is, your story is way too familiar. I'm just going to give quick background on me so that you know I'm not just some fly by the night um, dude who's coming online like so many others. I've been watching all these guys with, hey, the no back pain protocol. Hey, 15 minutes a day. Here's the magic exercises. I am totally not like that. I've been a physical therapist for 34 and a half years now. Um, wow, that's crazy. 34 and a half years. Um, and the last 17 years, I've been working with sciatica primarily, not exclusively, but primarily. And I've developed a program that focuses on the body's imbalances. Because here's what happens anytime anybody's body has any pain, tightness, stiffness, soreness, discomfort, anything out of the ordinary going on, the body's natural response will be to compensate for itself. And to give a picture of what that looks like, if you guys have ever seen somebody walking with a sprained ankle, and Sabine, if I am talking too quickly or you don't understand, please
Oh,
interrupt
it's
me.
okay.
I'm very
I'm fine.
informal, and if you need to interrupt me, that's totally fine. I could slow down and um, my mind just went blank on what I want to say. Go, re re-emphasize what I was trying to talk, what I was trying to say. So what I have found is if you see somebody walking around on a bad sprained ankle, their head, neck, and shoulders are bobbing and weaving. And that's because when anybody has any tightness, stiffness, soreness, pain, or discomfort in their body, the natural response of the body will be to compensate for itself. Number one, because it wants to protect the area that's a problem. So the ankle itself and the muscles around the ankle would tighten up to protect that ankle from getting any further damage. And what that does, it knocks those muscles out of their normal function. But the rest of your body is now going to compensate to try to keep you functioning with as little pain as possible. And I sort of say as little pain as possible. Um, Sort of as a caveat, because obviously when you're in pain and you're trying to move, especially with sciatica or piriformis syndrome or any type of disc issue or any type of hip issue or glute issue, it's painful whether you're sitting, standing, walking or laying down. And that is normal for people who have back issues, piriformis issues, sciatica, femoral nerve issues. So, as your body's compensating, what that does, it sort of throws things out of balance, right side versus left side. And that is where I see the major issue for most people. Because when your body's out of balance, what happens is you have all this extra physical tension and stress going on because of the imbalance. And unless you take care of those imbalances, those are going to stay and remain and cause tension to the area where the problem is so that that problem area stays tight and irritated. Sometimes you can get some temporary relief, but then it'll come back in the future. And I'm not wishing that on anybody, but that's the normal pattern that I see. Most of the time, it's not a one-time issue that boom, everything happens. And Kelly, you said that they found a tear in L4 and a bulge in L5. I
Mhm.
would venture to say that most likely those were there before you actually hurt your back.
Yes, and I know that because I was dealing with sciatica for about 2 years. It would go away. It would come for 2, 3 weeks. I would continue to run and it would eventually go away.
All right.
And then, yeah,
Okay. You from the Midwest by chance?
I am. Yes,
Where did you say?
Minnesota.
What part of Minnesota?
Uh, Rochester, the home of the Mayo
Rochester,
Clinic.
Mayo Clinic. Yeah, you know where Bemidji is?
I do.
I grew up in Cass Lake, right outside of Bemidji.
Ah, I've been to Cass Lake. Okay.
Really? Cass Lake, town of under 1,000. Yeah. I don't have that Minnesota accent because I was born in New York. And I don't have that accent either, except when I get a little upset. My wife goes, a little bit of that Brooklyn's coming out in you. But anyway, um, nice to meet a fellow Minnesotan. Um, so basically, when your body compensates and you get all this extra tension in your body, it doesn't allow your body to fully heal. And Kelly, you've been dealing with, you said the sciatica for 2 years. So it's kind of interesting because you just confirmed what I just said that oftentimes this will come back simply because our bodies are out of
Mhm.
balance. And you guys are free to keep your cameras off or turn them on. And Jersey Me, welcome aboard. Can you hear me? All right. Hopefully you can hear me. I can't hear you. Um, but you guys are welcome to keep your cameras off. You can turn them on. But first thing I want you to do is whatever you're sitting on, sit on the edge of the chair, couch, bed, whatever you're sitting on. And what I want you to do is I want you to cross your arms over your chest and I want you to twist as far as you possibly can to one side and then twist as far as you possibly can to the other side. And I'll just go around and ask each and every one of you. Kelly, first, did you feel both sides totally even? Or did it feel like one side was looser, more comfortable, and less restricted than the other?
Yeah, my right side is less restricted.
Okay. Sabine, did you feel totally even or did it feel like there was an imbalance?
I'm totally even, I think, in this case.
Say that one more time. Totally even?
It's totally even.
Okay. Um, Jersey me, if you can hear me, try speaking and see if I can hear you. All right, I can't hear you. Um, I don't know what's going on. Hopefully you can hear me. So that's one little quick test that I give people because most of the time, Sabine, congratulations for not for feeling totally even. We'll go over another one where you probably won't, but Jersey me is coming to life. Hi there. Um, did you feel totally even when you did that, or did you feel out of balance? Which one? All right, totally even, out of balance. All right, I'm not sure why. Is anybody else hearing her, or is it just me not hearing her?
I don't hear her. I think
I,
she has to put the camera on, the
the mic on.
speaker on.
Yeah, Jersey me, is your can you try to hook up your microphone? I, okay, you tried. Gotcha. I can read lips somewhat. Um, so and Bridget, you just came on. Welcome. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. All right, Jersey me, go on to Google and just look how do I turn my mic on for Zoom on whether you have a phone or a laptop or a tablet, and it will explain how to do it. And don't worry, we'll be here for a while. I'm planning on being here for up to an hour if need be, just to try to get people to understand that when their body's out of balance, what most of us do in the medical field is we say, hey, you know what? You've got a tight hamstring muscle because you've got sciatica and that muscle's tight. And what we're trained to do is take that tight muscle and stretch it. And we think that taking something tight, pulling on it tighter, stretching it tighter is going to actually help it to relax. And I challenge all my PT friends and my chiropractor friends and say, hey, where in life do you take something that's tight, make it tighter, and think that it's going to loosen up? And the only place that really works is if it'll loosen up if you break whatever's really tight. Because if you take a bolt, a screw, anything that's really tight, and you try to tighten it further, it's not going to loosen it for you. And that's a big mistake that I think so many PTs, chiropractors, trainers, Pilates instructors, yoga instructors make. Because when your body is out of balance and you're taking what's tight, trying to stretch it further, that is what causes even further imbalances. And then you have us being taught in school that, all right, in order to stay balanced, you got to work both sides evenly. And if you're starting from an uneven place and you work both sides evenly, you're not bringing anything together. You're just maintaining or increasing the imbalance. Does that make sense to everybody?
It
Yes,
does.
Anybody question that or want to challenge me? And hey, trust me, if you want to challenge me on something, please feel free and we could talk about it. But what typically happens is when the body has pain, it's going to compensate. When it compensates, it causes imbalances. And it's those imbalances that typically are the thing that keep people from healing. You may get some temporary relief. You may get some masked relief from whether it be medications or some creams or a hot pack or an ice pack or a TENS unit. All those things, I am not against them in any way, shape, or form. But if somebody's looking for long-term sustainable relief, they've got to learn how to balance out the imbalances in their body. Now, for those of you who felt totally even with the trunk rotations, I want you to sit at the edge of your chair, wherever you are, turn away from the screen because I'm assuming whatever you're looking at is either on a desk or a table or something. And what I'm going to have you do, I want you to turn to the side and just extend one knee. Doesn't matter which one. You're going to sit on the edge of the chair, extend a knee so that your knee is straight and your heel is on the floor on, let's start with your right side. Right foot or right leg extended, heel on the floor. And all I want you to do is take that leg and I want you to lift it up as best you can. Stop at pain, especially if this is your painful side. So you just want to lift that leg up. Let me see if I can find a picture so that you can see what I'm talking about if I'm not being clear enough here. Hold on
I
one
think it's
second.
clear.
Okay.
So I think it's clear.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So go ahead and lift that right leg up once or twice and gauge the pain level and how high you can lift it up. And then bring that right knee back. And then you're going to straighten out that left knee. So the left heel is on the floor, left knee is straight, and you're going to lift that one up. Now, if you have sciatica on one side, the side that you have sciatica typically is going to be a little bit feeling either heavier, feeling tighter, or feeling much more pain. Does anybody, you know what? I'm going to go around the screen. All right, Miss Jersey Me, was that even for you, or was that out of it? So that was even too. So the twisting and the leg lifts are even for you. And I so wish you had a microphone so that I can hear what's going on with you so that we can talk. You keep trying. Kelly, was that balanced or imbalanced for you?
My right leg, it's harder to do with my right leg than it is my left.
Okay. Bridget,
Same, harder with my right than my left.
all right. And I'm
Sabine.
Sabine, sorry.
Yeah. So my right leg, right leg is hurting, and I get it higher and without pain as the left one.
Okay. So everybody except Jersey Me is out of balance, but that's okay, Jersey Me. We'll find something that where you're out of balance. If you're even dealing with sciatica, because I can't hear you, but you'll get it. No worries, no rush, no pressure. So what most people and how we were trained was, like I said, if you've got a difficult leg to lift as a physical therapist, what we want to do is we want to force or take that side that's restricted and try to make it even to the side that's not restricted. And what we're doing, how many of you have had therapy where they've said, okay, you've got to stretch out that tight side? And you got to stretch out
Yes.
that tight side because if you stretch that tight side, that's going to relax it and make it looser. And you may get some temporary relief with that. And I was just on my piriformis syndrome page, allowing or letting some new people in, and they were talking about how all they've been doing is stretching and digging on their painful side for the past 2 years, and nothing has helped. And I'm going, well, here's the way I like to explain it. If this side of my head was sore, and I went to a doctor, let's say Dr. Jones. I went to Dr. Jones, and Dr. Jones says, Dean, here's what you need to do. You need to take your hand and just pound that side 25 times, 5 times a day. Most of you would look at me and say, you left that crackpot and never went back to him, correct? Or her, whatever the case may be, because that's ridiculous. Why would you pound on the side of your head that's sore, thinking that that's going to calm it down? Now, my question for the PTs, the chiropractors, the trainers, anybody who you guys have seen, why would you take something that's tight, stiff, and sore and stretch it and pull on it? Why are you taking something that's irritated and doing things that are irritating it further? And that's the problem with most treatment approaches. People are either focusing on the painful side, the restricted side. And what's funny is, as Kelly said, she's been having sciatica or dealt with sciatica before, and now she's dealing with back pain. When she was dealing with sciatica, most likely the treatment was focused on the sciatica pain, even though the sciatica pain is not really the location of the problem. It's just sort of the location of the symptoms. And I just did a video and I can't remember why or what it was for, but I gave the example of when you're driving and your check engine light comes on, how wise is it for you to go to a store that can test to see what's going on and then just reset the check engine light without taking care of the reason that the check engine light came on. Let's say it was time for an oil change and you just ignored it and thought, you know what? I'm going to turn the light off and everything's okay. That is what we do with medications, with TENS units, with ice, with heat. We're getting a signal to our brain that there's pain in our leg for sciatica, and we're so focused on that pain in the leg, we try to turn off the check engine light by calming that pain down, but we've done absolutely nothing to the area that the problem is. So just like turning off that check engine light in your car, if you're not dealing with the actual problem, which to me turns into or is the imbalances that are caused by the pain, because when you calm down the imbalances, guess what happens? The area of the body that's affected and that's doing this to protect itself can relax and healing can take place, even if you have a tear in your annular fibers or a bulge disc. Most people over the age of 40 have a bulging disc and don't even know it because you can live with a bulging disc without any pain. You can live with a herniated disc without any pain. And believe it or not, degenerative disc disease starts in most people at about age 30 to 35.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Bridget, you may.
Since you brought up your Piriformis page, how do you find out? Because when mine started, I was told I had like hip triad complex. Then I went to another person that said it was glute tendinopathy. How do you figure out which one you really have?
That's a great question. And I look at it like this. I don't care, and I'm not trying to be cold here, Bridget, at
No,
all.
I get it.
I do not care because I could diagnose you with hip bursitis or a gluteal tendon tear or piriformis syndrome or hip joint issues or any, there's so much in the hip and the glute area that it can be. And everybody's like, well, you got to get the MRI to know exactly what you're doing, to know exactly what you're treating. And I say, no, you don't. And here's why. There's so many things that come up as a problem on MRIs that, number one, are irrelevant to your pain, even though they're in the same area. And what I mean by that is um, Kelly was dealing with sciatica in the past. She heard you weren't on when she said that she bent over, picked up a rock in June or July, and got over that, then went and bent over at work in an awkward way. Same problem came back, and the MRI showed that she had an annular tear and a disc bulge. The problem with saying that's her problem and that's where the pain's coming from is you don't have anything to compare that to before the pain started. That annular tear, that bulge may have been there for years and no symptoms whatsoever. And the reason I'm saying this is because they're coming out with studies now with people who have rotator cuff tears. If you go to a doctor and say, man, my shoulder, it's really hurting, and they do an MRI and it shows a rotator cuff tear, well, obviously, pain, rotator cuff tear, you obviously have a problem with your rotator cuff. But they're doing studies now and having people take MRIs of their non-painful shoulder, and they're seeing that there's similar rotator cuff tears on that side, but no pain. They're doing this with a lot of different body parts, and I have a whole screen full. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pull this up and see if I can share my screen. I'm not sure if I can because I'm recording this so that I can have it, but I'll stop the recording actually. MRIs and other facts. Let me see if I can pull this up and show you so that it's not just me talking, it's actual facts here. Because anybody could say anything. Let me see here. Can I share my screen? Share. All right. So do you guys see this skeleton?
Yes.
All right. So let's start at the top. 1,211 people without symptoms had their neck scanned. People in their 20s, 75% of them had disc bulges. These are people who don't have symptoms. A total of 87.6% of the people that they took had disc bulges in their neck. People in their 20s, it was 75%, but um, everybody who they took pictures of, 87.6% had disc bulges in their neck. So that tells me that 85 to 90% of people have disc bulges and absolutely no pain. So
Mm-hmm.
if you go to the doctor with a little bit of pain in your neck or in your arm or radiating pain in your arm, and they do an MRI and they say, the disc bulge is the cause of that. I'm going, is it? Because you don't know what the MRI would have looked like before it started. In shoulder patients, 53 people who didn't have symptoms between age of 45 and 60, nearly a quarter of them had a slap injury. And that just means it doesn't matter what it means. It's a labral tear in their shoulder. So if you went to a doctor and said, I've got some shoulder pain, and they did an MRI, there's a 72% chance that they're going to find a slap injury in your labrum, and they're going to say, hey, we can fix that with surgery. Even though 72% of people have that without it. So let's get down to the mid to low back region. Over 3,100 people without symptoms at 50 years old, 80% of them had disc degeneration. So if you are getting an MRI and you have sciatica or back pain, and they say, well, you've got degenerative disc disease, that's what disc degeneration is. Yeah, well, I'm like 80% of people, most of them, 80% of them don't have pain. Does that make sense? 36% disc protrusion, that's a herniation. Over a third of the people who they took MRIs of had disc herniation but no symptoms. Now, I'm not saying that that's not the cause of pain for people. I'm not saying the annular tear is not Kelly's issue or the bulge is not, but I'm trying to get people to realize that just because you have something that shows up on your MRI, it's sort of like me saying, hey, look, no wonder why my forehead hurts because I've got a 5 head now, my hairline's receding. That doesn't make sense because most people who have a receding hairline don't have pain. So 45 people without symptoms, they had a hip MRI. Nearly 70% of them showed a labral tear. So 70% of people have labral tears. That's age 15 to 66. So if any one of these people went in and they can't figure out what's going on, they do an MRI. Oh, you've got a labral tear. That's what your pain is. But they're not comparing it to the other side. Do they have the same type of tear without pain? And then 44 people with the knee, ages 20 to 68. 43 out of 44 people had at least one meniscal abnormality. So I'm saying this and trying to encourage you that just because you have something show up on an MRI, oftentimes has nothing to do with what your pain is. It may, because anybody who shows up with these findings, a surgeon is going to look and say, hey, we can fix that. But I believe I read the other day 50 to 55% of back surgeries end up in what they call failed back surgeries. It's not because the surgeon wasn't good. It's not because somebody did something wrong, although they may have. But if they're trying to fix a bulging disc or a herniated disc that is not the cause of the pain, even though it shows up on the MRI, your symptoms aren't going to go away. And they categorize that as a failed back surgery if the surgery did not accomplish what it was supposed to accomplish, or you wind up worse after the surgery. And this, I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just trying to tell you the facts and what they're finding in the research. So that's why, Bridget, to me, it doesn't matter whether it's a gluteal tear, it doesn't matter whether it's a bursitis, it doesn't matter whether it's piriformis syndrome, pudendal neuralgia, or any other thing that can be painful in that area, because so many of these diagnoses have overlapping symptoms that basically people are giving you an educated guess onto what it is. I remember I had a client who was dealing with piriformis syndrome. She was from New Jersey, but she was living in Norway at the time that I met her. But she was telling me it had been I forgot how many years it was. She was one of my first clients. Um, she had gone to Columbia University to see the hip and back specialists that the New York Yankees use. So she wasn't messing around. She couldn't hold down a full-time job. Her symptoms would come back during her time of the month real
Yeah.
bad, so that she couldn't hold a job down because anywhere from 5 to 10 days out of the month, she was incapacitated, had to lay on her back because she had piriformis syndrome. And they gave her injections. They basically told her she would never have kids because of the pain that she would feel, and it would not be wise.
Mm.
I'm proud to say that she has her son has got to be 3 or 4 years old by now, at least. And basically, I said, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to balance out the imbalances. Dean, I have done every stretch under the sun. I've had every type of treatment. Why do you think you're different? I said, because I'm not going to stretch what's painful. I'm not going to stretch your tight side. I am not going to try to make you move into positions that are painful. She goes, okay, I'm listening. I said, we're going to find your imbalances and we are going to fix those imbalances by avoiding pain, by having you move into positions that are comfortable and easy, because what that's going to do, it's going to tell your central nervous system, okay, you don't have to be fighting, you don't have to be tense, you can calm down and relax because we're going to move you into positions of comfort and ease. And when that happens, the areas that are tight and restricted, guess what's going to happen? They're not going to have to protect themselves anymore as we balance out those imbalances and things are going to calm down. And um, if you've been on the page at all, her name is Christine Vallisted. This was years ago. I can start posting things that she wrote, but she's been pain-free for years now. If something does start to come back, well, she first started noticing that during her time of the month, her symptoms dropped down by 50 to 75% within the second month. It was about, I think she said it was like 25 or 50% better after month one. And then after month two, it was barely noticeable to her compared to what it had been. And it wasn't because I was aggressively stretching out everything that was tight. It was because I was doing the exact opposite of what she was told was the problem. And that's why I call what I do. Um, uh, I developed what I named it the 180-degree sciatica solution because I'm doing 180 degrees opposite of what most people have had done. And I say that the results are 180 degrees opposite of what you've received so far. And for most people, they go, that sounds great because if you can give me the opposite results of what I've had, I wouldn't have to be talking to anybody about my pain anymore. So, is there any questions on how the body compensates, how the imbalances cause um, cause the problem to continue without getting corrected? And feel free, don't be shy because I guarantee you, if you have a question, one of the other ladies on here is going to have the same question, but is too shy to ask. So don't be shy. There's no such thing as a dumb question. And if, yeah, I will not make you feel stupid for asking a question because you're trying to find answers and you deserve to have answers.
I don't have necessarily a question, but I just want to hinge off of what you were saying is that, when they gave me my MRI and said I had a disc bulge and blah, 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 this is what's causing all my symptoms. They told me no bending, lifting, or twisting. And then I went and saw a neurosurgeon at Mayo Clinic, and he said, your pain is absolutely not coming from your disc. The moment he told me that, I started bending and twisting with zero pain because I wasn't bending or twisting. I was being very protective of my back.
Right.
And my pain was not coming from my back. He was absolutely right.
Okay.
So
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, people,
it's
yeah. What's also amazing is they've done scans, they've done MRI studies where they would take, I forgot how many it was, they, whatever the number was, 20, 50, 90, and took them to different radiologists to read the MRI scans. There was not, there were I forgot how many different things that these guys found that were different from any other person. There were like, I think it was 40% of the radiologists had unique things on their findings that the others, however many of them, did not see. There was very few overlap on people reading the scans. So what that tells
Mhm.
me is, all right, just like, hey, as a physical therapist, I'm biased into the things that I've learned over the last 34 years of my career. That if I see somebody with back pain, the first thing I do, even though when you have a bulge or a herniation or a tear, the first thing they tell you to do is not twist. But what did I do first with everybody? I had you check your trunk rotation. Guess what happens? If they tell you you can't bend, lift, or twist, um, which is very common after back surgery. Kind of funny that they're telling you to do the things that you shouldn't do after they supposedly took care of the problem. Why? You took care of the problem. Now you're telling me don't bend, lift, or twist. And that's what they told me before surgery. What what good was the surgery? Well, you can't do that for 6 to 8 weeks because you got to heal. Imagine if people wouldn't bend, lift, or twist if those were aggravating their problems before surgery. Would they need the surgery? Just a thought. And I forgot where I was going with what I was saying here. Oh, the first thing I learned in school, if somebody has a bulging disc or a herniated disc, do not twist them. First thing I do with all my clients now, because I do things 180 degrees opposite, and I didn't do that on purpose. I'm just thinking now, I do things 180 degrees opposite because the first thing I do is have them twist. And the reason is every step that you take when you're walking, guess what your body's doing? You're twisting. If you can't twist, you can't walk without looking like a robot and straining the heck out of your body. So twisting
Mhm.
is imperative for you to be able to function. And yet, Kelly, you were told don't bend, lift, or twist. So,
Mhm. And
um,
I was walking around a robot and my body got completely out of balance
mhm.
because I tightened up and I got so incredibly stiff and then I suddenly was getting trigger points everywhere. Yeah, it was awful.
All right. So, everybody had an imbalance in their leg lifts, correct? Or Jersey me, did you have an imbalance when you tried to lift your legs? Yes. Okay. So here's what I want everybody to do. I want you to retest it again. Test the right leg, test the left leg. And after you determine which one is your tighter one and which one is what I like to call your LML one, your looser, more comfortable, less restricted one, what I would like you to do is I want you to take that looser, more comfortable, less restricted one, the one that's not tight or sore or aggravated. I want you to take that good leg and I want you to lift it up and down 10 times for me. And when you're done with 10, I want you to take a 10 to 15-second break and do 10 more.
So for me, my bad leg it was the loosener one and less stiffer one. My bad leg, my hurting leg is
Okay. As long as it doesn't hurt when you're doing it, um,
okay.
keep doing it. So anything that causes pain, if anybody has pain when they're doing an exercise of mine, I tell them you got to stop right away because if you're triggering your pain, guess what you're doing? Your body's going to compensate, things are going to get further out of balance. So that's why I don't allow pain with any exercise. I used to be the therapist who used to say, hey, no pain, no gain. And I realized how many people I probably caused to suffer needlessly because that's what I was taught. And um, yeah, I've apologized to many past clients.
So if lifting the left leg that was looser, as you do it, like when I started the second rep, I started feeling like a pull in my right side.
All right, so
Do I stop or keep doing it?
take your right foot and bring it back farther so you're bending that right knee even further back and see if that helps.
Yes, it does.
Okay, so
Oh
after
yeah, that does
doing
help.
After doing 2 sets of 10, what I want you to do is I want you to take the side that was restricted, try lifting it now and tell me, does it feel any different? Are you lifting it higher? Are you having less pain? Does it feel more free?
Yes.
One for one. Kelly,
Yeah, it does.
2 for 2. Jersey me. So after you did 2 sets of 10 to your good side, did the bad side change positively? Yes, 3 for 3. All right. Sabine.
No, the bad side is in this practice the better one, and the left side, my good leg, is not so good with this practice.
Okay, but after you did your
Yeah.
bad side, which is your good side for the lifting, when you went to lift the opposite side, did that change at all?
No.
All right. So then for you, what I want you to do is I want you to take your hands and grab underneath your your symptomatic side, which is your good leg. Okay. I
Yeah.
want you to grab underneath your thigh and I want you to
Yeah.
lift that leg up. So I want you to lift with the leg and pull up with the arms, 2 sets of 10, unless it's painful to do. Okay. Verstehst?
Yeah, but that doesn't hurt at all.
All right, good. Do 2 sets of 10 of those.
I can, but that's no problem at all.
Okay, good. I'm glad it's not. So do after you're done 2 sets of 10 on that, then recheck your non-affected tighter side and see if it changed at all. As far as, are you able to lift it? Does it feel lighter? Does it move better?
No.
All right, you're gonna be a tough one, aren't you?
No, I
I
think that maybe it is because I have trained so much on the bad leg.
Okay,
That's
but the thing is, you've trained so much on that the other side is now more restricted, and the goal is we've got to get them more balanced because
yeah,
if your bad leg is going up this high and your good leg is going up this high, you're
yeah,
out of balance.
yeah,
So the big thing for you is we've got to get you balanced, and we can work on that in different ways. But
yes, okay,
typically, just like Jersey, me, Kelly, and Bridget saw, when they work their non-affected leg or their better, looser, more comfortable, less restricted leg, the leg that was more restricted now either lifted higher or had less pain in it. And that's the typical response that we're looking for. And
yeah,
I typically have people do the exercise over and over again they're until you're either balanced or the progress that you're making plateaus. And then there's different ways to work the looser, more comfortable, less restricted side to try to improve it even further. And that's what
yes,
my programs do. But obviously, the goal of um, this Zoom was to just sort of go over an assessment to show you that, hey, you know what? When your body's out of balance, when you have things
yes,
pulling like this, you are your body's in a position that's protective. Your nervous system is having to fight against all this extra physical tension and stress from these imbalances that it's not allowing healing, full movement, and you enjoying your life fully again. Does that all
yeah,
make sense?
yes, it does.
All right, I'm going to
So,
start from the top right of my screen and work my way around to the left because I don't want people to think that I'm just randomly picking somebody or that they were first or that they were last or they were in the middle. But on the
yeah.
top right of my screen, Bridget, do you have any questions for me?
apologize. I do have to hop off. I've got to leave for work. But is the recording available? Like, going to be in that uh, comment section?
Um, I will, you know what? I will send it to you guys through Messenger.
Okay.
If you guys can each message me in Messenger, it's Dean Volk. Obviously, my name's on the screen. Just put please send recording, and I will.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
All right. Thanks, Bridget. All right, Sabine, you are on the top right corner of my screen, and then Kelly, and then Jersey me. If we can get that working, get that, or if you can type a question in the chat section, I can answer. Chat section should be on the bottom of the screen. Or here, you know
So,
what I'm going to do? Chat. This is
She
the
has
chat.
to click on the screen before, and then you get this more, and then you can go to the chat. Maybe
Okay.
she's on she's on a tablet. And
All right, Jersey Me, there should be something that shows one message coming through somewhere on your screen. Okay, click on that, and then you'll be able to type me a message. So, Sabine, did you have any questions for me?
yes.
Okay.
So that's it means that in my case it means that I trained the bad leg so much and ignored the good leg. So yet from now on I should train the good leg more.
Well, so you're going to do exactly the opposite of what I would do for you. There, very rare occasions do you have to take the side that's more restricted and work on it to equal the other side.
Yeah.
So you've been training and training and training and training the bad leg, but you're obviously here for a reason because your symptoms haven't improved significantly or you're not happy with the progress that you've made, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to have to train you. We're going to have to teach you how to balance out the imbalances. And if you just start working the side that's not lifting as much, you're going to be causing more and more of a problem because you're going to be taking something, just like I said at the beginning, you're taking something that's tight and restricted and thinking if I just work it and work it and work it, that tightening of that tight muscle is going to make it relax. Okay. And
Yeah.
just because that movement isn't equal doesn't mean that we can't move another body part and improve that leg that's restricted. So it's not just, hey, if this isn't working, let's work this side.
Yeah.
We have basically three major body parts. We have our shoulders, neck, and head. Then we have our trunk, and then we have our hips and legs. If one of those is out of balance, guess what that's going to do? It's going to cause a strain above and below it.
Yes.
If two of those sections are out of balance, that means we're going to have a really hard time walking around pain free. If all three are out of balance, they're all going to be fighting against each other, and healing just can't take place. So that's why this is sort of a demonstration to show, okay, when you're out of balance, and we did the trunk, we did the legs, you can do arms different ways, different movements to test them. You can do your head different ways, different moves to test it. And once we get all three in balance, guess what happens? That's when I hate to say magic happens, but that's when the body starts to heal because our bodies were created to heal themselves. And if we put the body in a position that's comfortable and easy and not stressed, the body would be great at healing itself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
I wish it was as simple as, hey, if that doesn't work, if you just do this, this will work.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
there's
but that's next question. What do I have to do for practice? For practice.
for you right now, I would use your bad leg and you were balanced in the rotations, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you can do the rotations. You could try to do the rotations standing as well as laying down. Laying down, you basically have your knees bent at 90 degrees. Why does my camera keep zooming in and zooming out? I don't like that. That's weird to me. Hold on one second. Sorry. Auto frame my video. There we go. Now I'm going to be stuck. You just drop your knees from one side to the other. And if you think about it, it's the same thing as rotating when you're sitting.
Yeah.
When you're standing, you can check standing, sitting, and laying down with most of the activities that I do because we want you balanced in all three positions. So there's a lot that can be done. I have different programs that I offer people. I have a do-it-yourself online program. I have group coaching. I have one-on-one coaching. We could talk about that off camera through chat if you would like, and we can set up a consult if you want to try to move forward with that. Let me go to Jersey Me's question, Kelly. Hold on one moment. Did that answer your question, Sabine?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So Jersey Me, type in where are you from? And I'm not gonna say
I was
New
going to assume
Jersey.
Jersey.
Get out of here. What part of Jersey? All right, we got north, south, central. South, okay. Down by Philly? Yes, okay. All right, my PT finished now, and I still have the back and upper thigh and some pain. What should I do next? Would acupuncture work? Um, Acupuncture may work. I haven't seen a whole lot of success stories with that because what happens is when your body is out of balance and you're still having the pain, you can put needles in all you want. I'm actually a certified dry needler. People love, for some reason, we love needles. When I had Bell's palsy, I went to an acupuncturist. They put in, can't tell you how many in my face and then all throughout my body to work on my meridians. Can't say that it helped. Actually, wow, I'm much more balanced now, but the right side of my face was totally dead. Um, it was 3 years ago now. Anyway, honestly, if we can set up a consultation, we can talk through some things and see. I have about a 97 to 98% success rate with people who have failed PT and chiropractics before. And just balancing out your body is going to have a major effect. And I'm assuming that they were either at PT, they were either working the painful side primarily or both sides evenly.
Mhm.
Both. All right. So you're out of balance and you're working both sides. And you're probably were you doing more extension exercises where you're doing press ups, or were they having you doing flexion where you were bending, or a mixture? Mostly legs. Okay. Um, there's a lot that can be done. And I'm sorry, you know what? I am always apologizing for my physical therapy colleagues because they're just doing what they were taught. For the first 17 years of my career, I did what I was taught. I went to so many back classes, and everybody has a little bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? A little their own take on the same type of process. And it was like, all right, I was getting frustrated because I was helping 15 to 20% of my sciatica clients. I'm not gonna lie. The ones who I helped thought I was amazing, and all I was doing were the generic exercises that if you go onto Google and type in generic sciatica exercises, if you see those and those are what you were doing, I'm sorry, that's how we're taught. And then I actually stumbled into a course that was close to my house in and my practices in Charlotte, North Carolina when I lived there. And this guy started off by saying, everything you've done in therapy, throw it out the window. I want to retrain you. And I thought, come on, man. I got 3 clinics. I'm older than you. I know what I'm doing. I'm pretty successful. And then when he started talking about, why are you stretching things that are tight, thinking that they're going to loosen it? And I thought, hmm, that's pretty wild. Why am I doing that? And then he called 3 small ladies up to the front. He put 8 pounds in their hands and said, lift these to your sides. And they all went like this. He said, what do you want to do for these people? And we all said, strengthen up the weak side. He said, good answer. He said, but check this out. He put 10 pounds in their good hand. They did 2 sets of 10. Then he put 10 pounds in both hands and said, can you lift these? And they all went like this. I sat back and I went, all right, maybe this guy knows what he's talking about. And I started applying the principles that I learned in that course. And that's what led to me going, hey, you know what? If I flip on its head everything that I've done, what is that going to do? And my sciatica clients started going, hey, I like this exercise. It doesn't hurt. And they started doing it more and more. And they started not coming back to me for their flare ups. And I'm going, so people aren't flaring up. I'm teaching them what to do. They're doing the exact opposite of what I taught them originally, and they're getting better. And my success rate overnight literally went from 15 to 20% to 75 to 80%. And then I started tweaking it more and more. And that's what I've been for the last 17 years. I used every one of my clients in my clinic as a guinea pig from like 2007 or 8 to 2020 when I sold my clinics. And I went, all right, I've got something here. In 2018, I started the Facebook group, had no idea what I was getting into. As a matter of fact, 2000, let's see, that was 7 years ago. So I was in my 50s and I went, all right, I don't know how to start a sciatica Facebook group. So I had to Google, how do you start a Facebook group or how do you start a Facebook group? So I I've been learning all this stuff for the last 7, 8 years. Put together a course in 2019, started selling it in 20, and things have just it's exploded because everybody's getting the same type of treatment, Jersey me, that you're getting. By the way, can you put your name in here so I know when you write me? Um I know who I'm talking to. Unless you're Jersey me on Facebook, then I'll know who you are. All right, Kelly, what kind of questions? Carol, nice to meet you, Carol.
Um, I guess my biggest thing is that right now in my healing journey, which I'm
Okay.
not, um, I have pain on both sides. I know which leg is my worst leg that I still have some sciatica that runs through it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just doing those leg lifts, I can feel my right leg tingling all the way down to my foot.
Okay.
Um, so if you have pain on both sides, I don't know how to differentiate like what to do in that scenario. Because I do my most of my pain right now is in my pelvis. It's in my glutes. It's deep, deep ache in my hips and glutes.
All right, so here's what you're going to do.
Hmm.
Cross your right ankle over your left knee.
Okay.
Lean forward and tell me how that feels.
That hurts.
All right, cross your left ankle over your right knee.
Hmm.
Lean forward.
That doesn't hurt so much.
So you're going to do half movements on that side that doesn't hurt as much. Do about 2 sets of 10 of those for me. I don't want you to get into the point where it's starting to hurt at all. Okay, so you're just going up and down nice and slowly 10 times. Then you're going to take a break and do 10 more. Notice what I'm doing. I always do 2 sets and then we reassess. Okay.
Okay. Going to my second set.
Okay. And now, just because you found a side that was looser, more comfortable, less restricted right now, guess what? Depending on the movements, positions, and activities you're doing during the day today, if you were to retest it in the evening, it might be flip-flopped. And I always tell people to do these things correctly, you always have to test first to find a baseline to know where you're starting from on your non-LML side. So when you do the LML side and then go back, you can see, okay, is there improvement?
Yeah, I'm able to get much further now on that right leg.
Imagine that. So,
So then do you train that right leg then at that point?
nope, what you do is you have to always
You just
test.
keep doing.
You always test, you exercise, and once things start calming down, what I do, everybody, most PTs, most chiropractors, most doctors say you got to strengthen your core, you got to strengthen your butt muscles and your core. It's like, yeah, that's great, but if my
Yes.
body's doing this and I try to stabilize, what am I doing? Number one, you're not really stabilizing because your body's out of whack and you're trying to tighten and strengthen yourself and hold yourself in a position that is not advantageous for you. So that's why I tell my clients, I tell them, stop any strengthening, stop any stabilizing until you're at least 80% better symptom wise and you're balanced most of the time.
Makes
Or
sense.
you're significantly more balanced most of the time. And it varies depending on who I'm talking to, what their symptoms are. But that's why I developed the courses that I did. That's why I do what I do because um, there's such a lack out there. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Does.
All right. I am over the hour. I'm sorry. I've got to run because I actually have a client in a few minutes here. But I hope this all made sense. I hope it was helpful. I hope it what shifts your mind thinking going, all right, so what I had done in my therapy, Carol, what I had done in my therapy, Kelly, I don't know, Sabine, if you had therapy yet, but this isn't a knock on therapists. They were doing what they were trained and what they learned, and they were trying their best. They, we, people who get into therapy are get into it, number one, because we want to help people. And sometimes, I mean, just like the first 17 to 20 years of my career, I thought I was doing the best I could until I learned something totally new and it went, oh, it was like a light bulb going, no wonder why my patients are struggling. And um, here in America, people get their doctorate degrees now. And with that doctorate degree comes a little bit of arrogance that I hate to say it, but I've talked to so many of my PT colleagues, and they go, "Well, you need to call me Doctor So and so," and I'm like, going, "Really? Yes, I got my doctorate degree." I said, "Well, I'll call you doctor when you start calling me master because I got my master's degree." And they said, "Well, that's stupid." I go, "Exactly." So now that you realize that my 34 years experience may trump your 2 or 3 years out of school, stop hurting people who have sciatica by doing the things that you're doing and try doing 180 degrees opposite. Well, that doesn't make sense. And then when I show them this and I tell them about stretching something that's tight, they go, "Oh, that makes sense." I go, "Yeah." I said, "It could be that we've been not doing things correctly." And I don't know why I was so open to hearing something that was different. I think maybe after 17 years of frustration and not getting as many people better as I wanted to in my career, I was humbled enough to go, all right, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's something out there. And I try to talk to as many PTs as I can and go, look, guys, try this. If it doesn't work, nothing lost. But if you try it and it works, you may be onto something too. So um, you're welcome, Carol. So guys, feel free to message me if you want to jump on a consultation call to see what's available. That's great. If not, no harm, no foul. Um, I'm a physical therapist, not a salesman, so there's no sales pitch here. This is who I am. This is what I do. If you want help, I
Do
would be happy
daily
to
or
help.
you do
Say that again,
Thank you
Kelly.
very much.
do you do daily or do you do weekly or what is the structure?
My programs, I have a do-it-yourself course that you can purchase. Um,
Uh-huh.
until Christmas, it is 50% off the original price, and what I usually sell it for is $997. Um, if you wanted group coaching or one-on-one coaching, that's done weekly. So during the week, you're going through the online course, and then
Mhm.
once a week, it's an eight. I sell eight. They're 8 week packages. Well, it's an 8 week program basically. So what I have found is that the average person in 3 to 5 weeks shows about a 50% improvement. And by week 8, they're 90+% better, but they get to keep the online course for life. So they can always refer back to it should anything occur, or if they want to just do it daily. I tell people the people who get the best results exercise 4 to 6 times a day. That sounds overwhelming, but once you've learned what you do, like the leg lift, that didn't take more than 30, 40 seconds. It doesn't,
Right.
4 to 6 times a day. Once you learn what to do, it can take 5 to 7 minutes at a time. And then what I also tell people is, hey, use these principles throughout the day. If you're cooking and it's sore, what happens if you twist a little bit to your right or twist a little bit to your left? Which one's better? All right, twist to your left. It feels better while you're cooking. Or the big one is a lot of people, when they go to fill their dishwasher, they say, oh, it really hurts when I bend and twist. I said, you don't have to bend and twist to put it in. They go, well, how am I going to put them in? I go, well, turn your body towards your dishwasher, twist to the side that feels better as you're in your sink. And then as you go, you can go straight and bend down straight. And basically applying these principles, going, hey, you know what feels better? You're walking down an aisle in a grocery store and you realize when you turn to your right, it hurts. When you turn to your left, it doesn't. Hey, you know what? Walk up the left side of the aisle, come back, walk up the left side of the aisle, going the other way, and you got both sides covered. And you're not hurting yourself half the time. So it's more than just, hey, do these exercises. I also teach breathing techniques. I talk about brain patterns because a lot of times, think of it like this. If you're in your kitchen and you reach for something and you feel heat, what do you do right away? Without thinking, you withdraw your hand, right? Whether the
Yep, it's a
stove's
lot.
on or not, or whether you're even near the stove, you're in the kitchen, something's hot, you're withdrawing because you're trying to protect yourself. Guess what your brain does after weeks of being painful when you go to from sit to stand? If it's painful, even though your body may have healed, guess what your brain's going to do? Oh, I'm going from sit to stand. I'm in pain. Not necessarily. So that's why moving the good side and moving things that are comfortable and easy, we're retraining your brain to go, oh, this is safe, so that it doesn't tense up when you go to the side that was restricted. Does that make sense? So it's more than just, here are the exercises, do them. I want to teach you guys, and I teach people, all right, this is a lifestyle. Why do you want to get in a position that's painful? Because that's going to cause your body to compensate, get things out of balance, and strain areas of your body that are most susceptible. Let's try to work on finding what I call your OCP, your optimal comfortable position. Because when you're in your optimal comfortable position, you can do anything and you can move any direction because it's comfortable and easy. Does that all make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah, because so many people go, Dean, just tell me the exercise. I go, well, I would, but you're not going to know how to utilize them. And there's so many different ways to do the same exercise to try to get results. Because if you're balanced like this, you might not be balanced when you're standing or laying down. And hey, Kelly, just because you improved your right leg piriformis movement and hip movement by doing just 2 sets of 10 bounces on your left leg crossed, doesn't mean that this afternoon is going to be the same. You may not, bouncing may not do it for you. You may have to hold, you may have to pull the knee instead of bouncing down. You may have to lay down on your back to do it to get the better benefit. So there's so many, um, so many tweaks and things with each exercise and with each movement that, hey, I can tell everybody what the exercises are, but then they're going to tell me, that didn't work. It's like, you're right. There's so many different things in it. So that's why it's a comprehensive program. It's not just do these 3 things. That's why I cringe when I see all these YouTube. Hey, you want to get rid of your sciatica in 30 seconds? Do this. And they're bouncing their knee up and down. I'm like going, that's going to kill half the people who are trying it. Or the nerve flossing and gliding. Worst thing in the world that I've ever seen. And some people swear by it. I'm like going, hey, you got lucky. You were one of the 10 to 15% that this worked on.
Yeah, that
Because
never worked for
yeah, you're taking an irritated nerve and you're doing this to it. Yeah, let's just do this and say, hey, your head's gonna feel better. But what's crazy is, you know what? When I stop, my head does feel better because I'm not hurting it. And so that's what you're comparing it to. And that's why nerve flossing, oh, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. You stop doing it, and it's like, oh, maybe that worked. Yeah, until about 20 minutes down the line when your nerve goes, you just screwed me up and I'm going to make you pay. So, anyway, guys, I've got to run. Been a pleasure. Feel free to reach out. Let's chat. If you don't want to chat, we don't have to chat. Not a problem. All right. Appreciate you being here with me for this long. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. All right.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. Thank
You're
you.
very
Thank you.
welcome.